your inventory costs and increase your profit margins? How about decreasing waste and improving the quality of your products? Lean manufacturing is the key to achieving all those things. And Paul Akers, well, he's the expert in all things lean. In this interview, Paul Akers shares principles, concepts, and routines for a lean business culture and lifestyle, and it will change your life. An author, innovator, TEDx talker, international speaker, award-winning business owner, the list goes on and on for Paul Akers, and his life and business is lean. Yours can be too, so stay tuned for this amazing episode.
It's 50,000 square feet and it cost us $2.2 million to build it. It would cost anybody else $5 million to build this, but because we applied lean thinking to the way we did it for a fraction of the cost.
The bank president, he comes in and says, Paul, I've never seen a business so well run in my entire life. Particularly in light of the fact that I just won Business of the Year. I was making a ton of money and things were rocking and everybody wanted to work for me. Everything was going right. That's why 3Sing is the most important activity anyone will ever do to learn lean manufacturing and become a lean thinker. Lean thinkers can see waste and systematically eliminate it in every process, in everything they do every day.
My favorite improvement of the year has got to be this pneumatic magnet dispenser that Lucas made.
And look how fast this is. Eliminating a bunch of motion. That's lean manufacturing. That's lean thinking. So first of all, this is FastCap. Welcome to FastCap. And the interesting thing about this company is there's no walls. So this is the office, and there is the shipping and receiving and manufacturing and everything, which is very unusual. I don't know of a company in the world that is like that. So we deliberately did that because we want to connect everybody together. We want to connect all the work together. So they process an invoice, and boom, it goes right to the shipping department right there. They don't have to walk through a door or tap on a glass or anything like that. Everybody's in direct communication, so it's very unusual. The next thing you'll notice is it's a beautiful building, very open, tons of windows, 140 windows here, which lets lots of natural light in, so it's a really pleasant place to work. The floors are immaculate. It's all polished concrete. We don't have any custom floor coverings anywhere. Everything's just very simple, very lean. And this building is a miracle, to be honest with you, because it's 50,000 square feet and it cost us $2.2 million to build it. It would cost anybody else $5 million to build this. But because we applied lean thinking to the way we did it for a fraction of the cost. And most people can't even get their head around a building this size, building for that much money.
Tell us about what lean manufacturing is. What are the basic principles?
The most basic one is the ability for these two eyeballs to be able to see waste. If you can identify all the things that are going on in your life, both at home and at work, that are not changing anything, that aren't adding any value, and then you do something about it by eliminating that, that's lean. So I'll give you another example. When you make this coffee, we'll take this coffee right here, okay? So the Woods had to make this coffee. And the first thing they had to do was get a cup. So they had to walk 2 steps and grab a cup. Then they put the cup underneath there. Then they took the puck thing out, and then they slammed it down and got all the coffee out of it. And then they had to walk over 1 step and wash it out maybe, and then walk back. Well, guess what? No coffee has been made yet. That's waste. That's non-value added activity. It isn't until that they push that button and the coffee's actually coming out that value is being added. It's only at that moment. Only for the 30 seconds or 15 seconds that coffee came out was value being added. The rest of it was all waste.
So the main principle is
to get to the value. To get to the value-added activity and to be able to identify all the things that are really not changing anything. You're not paying for someone to walk and take 1 step or 2 steps to get a cup, to get a lid. You're not paying for that. That's not what you came there for. You came there to drink coffee, to nourish your body with coffee, to get a caffeine butt. You know, this whole idea, the Japanese word is called muda, M-U-D-A. Muda means waste. It's this little tiny word with 4 letters, and it is so powerful. But most people in their lifetime will never understand it. That's lean manufacturing. That's lean thinking.
Now, in the front of all of our inventory racks are build cells. We have about 700 products, and there's about 50 build cells where we actually build the products. And we've done it really in just a 4x8 section that's very flexible. We can change it for whatever product we need to build. We have little stations set up with jigs, and it just really works well. We have the inventory down below. We build the product up above. Just a great system, allows for a lot of flexibility. Now we have an automatic shrink wrapper, which allows our people to build pallet loads because we ship a couple semis a day. And what happens is they just drive that onto there, push a button on the forklift, and then it automatically starts to spin and wrap. Now the operator can go away, do something else. When it's done, it automatically cuts itself. Then the operator comes back and retrieves the pallet, puts the label on it, and it's off into the truck. It's a very efficient system, and it, again, relieves the burden off our people. Because we don't want our people to work hard, we want them to work smart.
The bank comes in a week before the Japanese come into my company. The bank president, he comes in and says, Paul, I've never seen a business so well run in my entire life. The best run company I've ever seen, best well organized, managed, and everything. Because I'm OCD. Everything looks perfect. And he said he was willing to give me any amount of money I wanted. Now you don't give money to small startup companies. I don't have an MBA, so they don't really like to give money to people like me. But he said any amount of money you wanted because this place was so dialed in. A week later, the Japanese walked into my plant, and they delivered the message, you're clueless. You don't know what you're doing. I asked him, can you help me? And he said, well, I don't know. You're clueless. You don't know how to manufacture. So the bank sees what I'm doing and says it's unbelievable.
Right.
But the Japanese, who can see waste and understand value versus non-value,
Say you're out of your mind.
I don't know what I'm doing. And so...
What an interesting contrast.
Yeah, very interesting contrast, particularly in light of the fact that I just won Business of the Year, right?
That was the same year.
I was making a ton of money, right? And things were rocking, and everybody wanted to work for me. I had this young, hip crew. Everybody wanted to work for me. Everything was going right. Right? I had a couple inventory problems. That's why I hired the Japanese. They had to manage a couple inventory problems. So then they came in, and 1 week they took processes that were taking me 45 minutes on those machines right over there. 45 minutes to 5 minutes. So every time we did an operation, it took us 45 minutes. And they, in 1 week, through small little improvements, got it to 5 minutes. And at that point, I said, I don't know what I'm doing. So I started listening. I actually got on a plane and immediately went to Japan, to Lexus and Toyota, to see what they were doing. And then when I saw the contrast of what Lexus and Toyota was doing compared to all the other American manufacturers, I go, oh my gosh, I'm not even on the right planet. I don't even have a clue. And that's when I became crazy about lean. But all these cells are all the different products that we make. So as we get an order, so these are called Kanban cards. So if there's a Kanban, someone grabs a Kanban card, goes into a production cell, and then builds the product. And that's what all these cells are. They're all work cells right here. These are all the different Kanbans. The whole company's run on a paper card, just like this. So they would bring their Kanban, and they would drop it into here, and then they would start building the product right here. So everything's set up in nice manufacturing cells so they can work really, really effectively and efficiently. So it's really, everything we do here is very simple.
Yeah.
But most people don't realize the importance of great processes.
I see all these red lights on every aisle.
Yeah.
What are they all about?
That's because we have this massive forklift, which is down there being charged, which is called a turret forklift, that the man goes way up in the unit. And we don't want anybody down that aisle when that forklift's in there because it's massive. So the red light goes on and it tells everybody visually, don't go down that aisle. Exactly.
Yeah, you've got quite a bit of merchandise going all the way to that.
And we move through a lot of it. We ship 2 or 3 containers sometimes every day. Could you imagine that? I mean, that's a lot of stuff getting out of here.
I'm trying to quantify it either in dollars or in...
Between $100,000 and $200,000 a day.
Wow. What tools can be implemented to have lean manufacturing?
Good. There's just a few simple tools, and here they are. The most important one is something called 3Sing. It means to sweep, to clean everything. So the first thing you do when you start your work, the first thing they do when they walk into their studio, the first thing you do when you sit down in your office is you don't open up your phone and look at your email. You don't turn on your computer.
Right.
You look at your office and say, what can be cleaned here? And you start to clean. You clean the dust. You clean the windowsill. You realize the cables are all bunched up in the back of your computer. And you sweep. That means to clean. You sort. You take all the papers that are on your desk. Like if you go down to my desk right now, you'll see there's hardly anything on it. Right? And I'm a busy guy. But there's nothing on it because I've sorted. I've taken all the crap that's piled up on most people's desks and work area, and I got rid of it. So you sweep, you sort, get rid of the things you don't need, and you standardize. You create standards on how you do work. We tell people to do that for 10, 15 minutes a day, max, no longer than that. We do it for a half hour here. The reason why you 3S is to find problems. So it isn't to keep a neat, clean place. Look how clean this place is. It's incredible, right? It's a factory.
Yeah, it's
you can
very...
eat off the floor. We don't do it for that reason. We do it to find problems.
Interesting.
Because when we clean, we go, oh, why is that dirt accumulating there? Where is that dirt coming from? That dirt's coming from the seal in the door that's faulty. So then we go and fix the seal in the door, and then we don't have the dirt there anymore. So we saw the problem, and then we created a standard that alleviated the problem. We call it a countermeasure. That's why you 3S. That's why 3Sing is the most important activity anyone will ever do to learn lean manufacturing and become a lean thinker.
So what you're watching is a process that was taking us 3 days to make all these custom parts for a customer. So I went down to the shop because I love being in the shop and came up with some ideas on how to eliminate waste and motion and transportation. And we have to drill these little aluminum parts. We have to drill them twice. So number one is I was noticing I was reaching up to this handle all the time and taking my hands away from the work, and then it was having more setup time. So I said, how can I change that? So I simply took a bungee cord and then put a bungee cord to act as a spring, and then put a piece of webbing on there, and I hit it with my hands, and away you go. And then as we were doing the improvement with our team, somebody noticed, hey, if we make the stop on the outside parameters of both sides, we don't even have to pick the part up and flip it around. So you can see, I drill one side, push it over to the other side. Then we have an air nozzle on there blowing all the debris away, which we learned from Walters and Wolf, which was really cool. We took a process that was taking us even as long as 3 days to make these parts. And now we cut them and drill them in 8 hours. Gigantic improvement.
I show up in the morning, my first task is to make an improvement, help other people make improvements, and make sure that we're cleaning and looking for things that are out of place. So I spend half an hour doing that. I go to the morning meeting. After the morning meeting, first thing I jump into is making sure everybody's trained on what they're doing. So I'll flit around for the first hour from person to person, just watching them, making sure they got all the processes down, making sure they remember everything, making sure they're doing it right, answering any questions. Once I'm sure everybody's got everything going, then I'll jump into it and I'll start working on stuff and finding improvements, coming up with improvements, jumping out to check on people again, and then I do a lot of running around, figuring out where everybody should be at certain times, kind of balancing the workload around the facility. So I talk with Alicia, the production leader, and Lauren, the shipping leader, and kind of judge their burden, where they're at, and move people around between them a little bit.
And that's your day.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Big circle of all that, and it's fun. I get to make a lot of things, build a lot of jigs, help a lot of people learn to run a lot of tools and make a lot of things. And we kind of call it the School of Fast Cap, and I really like how much I get to teach everybody all day.
Nice. Yeah, there's always change, man. It's cool to see that.
Yeah.
What do you call people that are just overly obsessive about little details?
OCD.
OCD.
Yeah.
But this is different.
Oh, this
is a different principle concept.
Well, Paul, whoa. I don't think I've ever had anybody ever in my life ever interview me and get what you just said. Ever. People think because they're OCD, they're lean.
Right. Well, that's
And
my
you
point. We're
recognize
going against the
immediately.
conventional thinking here.
Nobody's ever said that. Congratulations, man. Good job. It is not being OCD. And everybody thinks, oh, I'm OCD. I'm already super organized. I'm already lean. You haven't got a freaking clue.
About, what's
Because
going on?
I'm the most OCD person in the world. And when the Japanese came into my company, this company, they said, you're clueless. I was the neatest, cleanest guy you've ever seen. Everything had to be put away. And he said, you're clueless.
Interesting.
Because OCD is not lean. Being organized is not lean. Lean thinkers can see waste and systematically eliminate it in every process, in everything they do every day. But then there's one step further. The real great lean thinkers and the lean leaders get everyone to do it. Mm-hmm. Total participation.
That's
a
whole nother
company and an
challenge.
organism where everyone is working together towards the same target of eliminating waste out of every process they do.
I can now live more peacefully thinking that OCD has nothing to do
It
with...
has nothing to do with it. And that's a funny thing, because that's what lean does. It does make you peaceful because you're not struggling with things. You're enjoying the fact that you're effortlessly going through the day. And the minute it's not effortless, you stop and you fix it.
So what top 3 problems can a lean culture solve for business owners?
Well, the biggest one is hair on fire. Your hair's not on fire. I mean, most business owners walk in and they're just the master firefighter. They're just walking around putting out fires. I'm the savior. I'm the smart one. Oh, where's the next problem? Let me solve it.
You don't have that with lean.
I don't have that. You don't have that with lean. Everybody's solving problems. So the fires are like little tiny. Oh, let's tweak that instead of these big problems and chaos that's going on all the time. So the number one thing is hair on fire, right? Maybe number 2 is happy employees. People that want to work, people that want to stay, people that want to invest their life in an organization that is functioning at a high level. So just those 2 things right there. Do I need to say any more?
No.
I mean,
and these dogs here are just...
Everyone can bring their dog.
Everyone's just an incredible little addition to this business.
Yeah, and they're everywhere.
What do you think about lean?
It's a family, and we want people to feel good about work. And we don't mind if they stop and pet the dogs and everything, because if they're happy and they feel good at work, they're gonna work.
Absolutely.
If you ask anyone here at FastCap, I was the quietest and the shyest kid here.
Huh, you're the second person that say that.
Did
Yeah.
not talk to anybody. Now I'm talking to sales reps. I'm talking on the phone with other people. I'm talking to customers. I'm talking to all different types of drivers that come in here. Deliver, who receive, everyone. Just, it's wonderful. Customer could walk in through here and I know, okay, I could take him there. I could show him this. I could show him that. And my communication skill has gotten a whole lot better.
That's cool.
And I think one of the biggest things that helped that is the morning meeting. We do a morning meeting every day, and everyone takes turns doing it. So every about month and a half or so.
No option. Got to do it. Your turn.
Well, it's fun.
Right.
It's fun. It's part of the lean culture. So I love doing it. It brings me out of I'm not in a comfortable zone. It's really uncomfortable for me. I hate it, standing out there. But I love it at the same time because it pushes me to be a better person, to focus on things that I'm not good at. And lately, I've noticed it from when I first did it to now, it's improved a lot. But there's still tons and tons of room for improvement.
That's great.
Over here, all the paper for every day of the orders is color-coded, Monday, Tuesday. So today's Monday. All the orders were put on pink paper today. Now, the entire company is managed through this one little board here that's made out of OSB and painted with brown paint. So if you look up here, you can see the burden of the company. Is there any burden on this company right now? There's nothing. Everything ships. Everything ships 2 hours fax a truck from the time we get the order to the time we make it, package it, and ship it, 2 hours. So at the end of every day, we go home completely finished.
You can sleep at night.
And we sleep at night. And so the next day, everything's going to be printed on this color. And if this whole board is filled with tons of colors, we know there's a burden on the company. So we can allocate the resources, get more people over to the shipping department to ship. So wherever the burden is, that's where everyone moves. Very flexible environment. And it's based on all these simple visual controls. So look at these visual controls. This is incredible.
Clipboards.
So these are clipboards for next day air, second day air, UPS, FedEx, all the different ones. So a customer calls and says, I need something next day air. We're not just going to put it in the queue. We're going to put it on a clipboard, right? Because it needs to get special care. Because if we miss that, then they don't get their job done, right? So at 4 o'clock, before the cutoff for next day air, if all the clipboards are not back in here, what does that tell us? Oh, something didn't get done. Go find that clipboard, get that job done. But as soon as all those are back in,
voila,
we know everything got shipped. So this is hair on fire. No one's hair is on fire, right? Because we have a process to make sure there's nobody running around like, oh crap, we didn't get it out.
I don't see how businesses operate
any other way.
Any other way.
I know that's
Yet they still make it work.
That's why I laugh that people don't get this. When people don't get this, it's just like, what? You don't get this?
Yeah.
It's so simple. It's unbelievable. And all these ideas came from our people just making these improvements all the time.
My favorite improvement was this jig that will sort your waste and your actual product when you're cutting custom caps.
So all the waste is just falling down there, and the real product is coming out right here. That is very cool, Maylin.
My favorite improvement of the year has got to be this pneumatic magnet dispenser that Lucas made. And so before, we had one like this where you have to manually just pull it every time. It's slow, it's a lot of movement.
And the magnets are inserted.
The magnets are inserted. Now, we have this pneumatic device, which down here, we have our pedal with our Pokioka sign on it.
And what's the Pokioka sign do?
Makes us remember that we have something down there.
So nothing gets run over it.
So nothing can run over it.
So it's in with the Kanban. So when you put the Kanban back with the finished product, the Pokioka says, hey, don't forget the foot pedal.
Yeah, and put it back.
Well, that's a great improvement right there.
Mag strips here, and this nice little holder that attaches under the table.
Look at that. Look how clever that is. Okay, so that just plugs in. So
Goes right
it's
back
a
to the
quick
hole.
change build station. So as you need to build it, you go.
And then we load it up, all our mag strips. When we're ready to go, just place it in here, hit the foot pedal, and it magnetizes right to the front.
And keep going. Keep building them. Keep
So
building them.
when we keep building them,
So this tells you how many you have to build to the red. And look how fast this is. Eliminating a bunch of motion, right? Wow, and look at this. It's all stacking up right here. Very cool.
there's 6 right there.
Not bad, Lucas.
Thanks. How did you first discover the idea of being lean, and what prompted you to incorporate it into your own business? In a nutshell.
Well, it's a great story how I first discovered the concept, although I didn't get it. I was in San Diego, and this was about 3 years before the Japanese came to my company. And a friend of mine said, you got to come see this business. It's incredible. And so I went and saw this business, and it was a cabinet making company with about maybe 20 employees. And when I went in there, there was no activity. They weren't building any cabinets. And there was no inventory. There was no lumber racks. There was nothing. And I'm going, what the heck is going on here? And I'm a cabinet maker. I'm going, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Somebody's trying to fool you.
Yeah, somebody's trying to fool me. And I said, what's going on? He goes, well, we have a slow day today. So I don't have anybody building cabinets. They're all doing maintenance. They're all doing 3S'ing on all the equipment. So nobody was making any cabinets, but everyone was going around polishing, cleaning, making everything perfect, oiling the machines, doing all that stuff. And there was no stress. And I walked out and I said, that is the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Because I'm used to inventory, all activity, people building stuff, loading trucks, getting everything up.
So at that time, you didn't get the lesson.
Oh, I didn't get the lesson at all. No, I walked out and thought he was the stupidest guy in the whole world. It was unbelievable. Because what he realized is there was no demand. The customer was not asking for anything, so why should you make something? Because if you make something, then you got to store it. Then you got to build an inventory rack. Then you got to manage it. You got to count the inventory. And then if you ding it with a forklift, then you got to rebuild it. So he understood waste. So he only turned his machines on when there was a demand from the customer. But it was all so foreign to me, I didn't get it at all. And it wasn't 3 years later, it wasn't until 3 years later that the Japanese came in and started explaining to me the concept of just in time, only making what the customer wants when the customer wants it, that the light came on. I go, that's that company I saw in San Diego that I thought was crazy. And I'm the crazy one, and he's the smart one. So this is the fast pipe area. This is where we make, this is called a fast pipe cart. So we make everything. We make the workbenches, we make everything. But then people see this and they all want it, so they want to buy it. So this is where we process the orders for fast pipe. So check this out. So there's no orders for fast pipe right now. Why do we know that? Because of this right here.
One book a week. But not many people have time for that. I understand. So I created a company with my business partner Alex called Mentor Box.
This right here. See this thing? When the order gets there, look at the light goes on. So if the office brings back an order and puts it on the clipboard, I'll do it like this just to show you. Boom, the light lights up, and Saeed, who's over in a whole other department, can see, oh, there's an order, and he'll come over and he'll build it just in time. But we don't build anything unless there's demand. And now look at, now this is another important principle. This is called respect for people. So I could have used that piece of paper and I could have said, oh, I'll just put it back in there and they'll figure it out.
Right.
No.
It's got to go back where
I
it
need
came
to make
from.
sure I put it back exactly in the right place, lean office desk, in exactly the right direction, because that's called respect for people. Just because I'm the boss, it doesn't give me right to come in and destroy someone's work area.
Right.
Right? And this is the way everyone operates here. Everyone operates with this high level of respect for people and for resources.
You would just save 20 seconds for somebody trying to figure out how to put that paper back.
Or worst case, put the wrong paper, send it to the customer make the phone call, I got the wrong instructions. We're talking hours by the time it's all done.
Just because Paul misplaced the
Just
paper.
because Paul didn't respect, the core issue was respect.
Okay. That's
The core
important, you
issue
guys.
was
Respect.
a lack of respect for people and for resources. I wasn't respecting the worker. I wasn't respecting my customer. I wasn't respecting the resource of the diesel truck to ship the item all the way there and then have to reship it again. So lean thinkers have a deep respect for people, the time of my customer, the time of my worker, and for the resources that are required to make everything happen. So I'm going to stop. I'm going to pause. I'm going to make sure everything's back, and then I'm going to move on.
Once you implemented lean manufacturing, how much did your inventory cost decrease? How much did your profit margin increase?
Okay.
Loaded question.
So I'm not going to be able to figure out and calculate all the numbers to what you just asked me, but I'm going to tell your listeners and you numbers that will do nothing but astound you. Okay?
All right.
So number one, the first thing with lean is if you do it for money, you're going to completely blow the thing out. It has nothing to do with money. It has to do with improving the quality of people's lives. You're process oriented, so work is easier, more enjoyable, so you can deliver more value to your customer, greater quality to your customer. Nothing to do with profit. If you make it about profit, you lose. Guaranteed 100% you will lose. So that's number one.
Let me just repeat that. If you make it about profit, you lose. Think about that for a second.
100% you'll lose. It will never work. It never has worked. I've never seen it work once. Yeah, this is another really cool thing. So all the products are made down there at the end, at the machines down there at the end. And then this is the inventory, and people just walk into these cells and package it just in time and then ship it. And so if they're out of something, they're communicating with the operator right there at the end of the aisle. And then the fast caps are all over here in these bays. So these are all the different fast caps. We make every size, shape you could possibly imagine. And again, the operators are all there at the end making it, and you're in direct communication with it. So it's really, really nice.
You got screws in the cabinet to cover?
Yeah,
This is what you
this
use.
is wood. This is like a birch or a maple right here, a white maple. And you know, notice everything we make, even the countertops, everything's made out of particle board, just painted. And everything's customized. We made these bins, these cardboard bins are called our Kaizen bins. We developed them, designed them, so they're flexible and we can move the partitions anywhere we want.
I see that.
So again,
wow.
when I say we make everything, baby, we make everything. We don't. If we were to buy things off the shelf, it wouldn't be detailed enough or specific enough for our processes. So we just find ourselves making everything, whether it be the workbenches, the way we store our products, the way we manage our work cells, everything. We just make everything.
Amazing.
When I went into business, I had a problem in front of me. It was to cover a screw hole. I wanted to make my work easier. So I made a fast cap, and it made my work easier. It was to lighten the load of my work. And then when I presented it to my customers, my goal was to solve a problem for my customers. And if I effectively solved the problem of my customers, they exchanged their hard work and time with dollars. If I just said to my customers, I want your money, do you think they would come to me?
I doubt it.
No, but if I said, I have something that can solve your problems, I have something that can make your life better, make your work more enjoyable, make your work higher, raise the quality of your work, would they come to me? Money's never even been talked about.
Mm-hmm.
So you first go into business for the purpose of serving or providing something to a customer. And when you do that at a high level, they give you their time and money in exchange for it.
You'll never have a problem of profit at that point.
It's impossible. It's against the laws of nature. If you're adding value, you're giving something to someone that they need, they're more than happy to exchange your money for a nice cup of coffee, right? But if they gave you a crappy cup of coffee, would you give them the money?
I'd hesitate.
But if I said, I just want money, I want to open up a coffee shop and I want money, are you going to give it to Woods Coffee? No, they're providing something of value, and it's the value that you're in business for.
Yeah.
To deliver that quality product, that service, and the profit is a byproduct.
Howdy, engineer. I see you're developing the connected car. That's a pretty tough ride.
Have you guys heard of lean manufacturing? We'd love to hear your comments. Comment below. Once you've seen this episode, come back and tell us how you've implemented lean manufacturing in your business, in your life. We'd love to hear it, you guys, so that we can share that with others. You guys, we've had so much awesome content with Paul Akers that we want to make this part 2. So stay tuned.
We're in 40 countries, tens of millions of dollars worth of business all over the world, 3,000 or 4,000 distributors worldwide. And the entire brainchild, the entire brain of the company is in this little office with only 6 people. We've been in business for 21 years. You know how many price increases we've had in 21 years?
How many? 3. In how many years?
21 years.
Can you really change a business 2 seconds a day?
So a lean thinker understands that all these processes that we do every day are just terrible processes. And they're not satisfied, and they say, how can I just shave a couple seconds? Well, if you're shaving a couple seconds off of 50 or 60 processes a day, you got one hell of a company going on.
Right.
And that's what we got going on here. Millions of improvements being made nonstop.